December 14, 2005. Fred Strunk, Brian Gibson, and Greg Compton are apprehended and arrested in connection to this cozy Tennessee A-frame home located in Dixon Springs of Trousdale County. Unbeknownst to most of the world, sitting below was an underground cave housing a sophisticated grow operation that was yielding 100 pounds of marijuana every 8 weeks. Fred Strunk was a master engineer, and he had masterminded an underground pot cave that was nearly undetectable to the outside world. Nearly. After it was raided, authorities said there were over 800 plants growing at various stages of maturity. All in all, the operation was estimated to have grossed $6 to $8 million a year for about 6 years. It was as close as you can get to the perfect crime, except for one detail. Welcome to the legend of the Tennessee Underground Pot Cave. According to public records, it seems like in 1996, Fred Strunk and his significant other found this property and decided that was where they wanted to build their dream home. And as a bonus, the underground cave could work as a storm shelter. Much of Fred's past is unclear, but one thing that is clear is that he was a master engineer, and he had a reputation for it too. It's also likely he had a reputation of being a risk taker too, as both he and his significant other were both avid skydivers. Unfortunately for the two, Fred's significant other Shannon would later die in a freak skydiving accident when her chute deployed too early, causing a sudden slowdown and likely causing her to go unconscious, where she was not able to recover in time to make a successful landing. Some point after that, Fred lost interest in the property and decided it was time for a change of scenery, or so he thought. When the property was listed for sale, Fred was approached by a buyer that knew of him. This buyer knew Fred's reputation for being a very skilled engineer and made Fred a unique offer, an offer Fred couldn't pass up. And what was that offer exactly? $50,000 a month over 2.5 years to overhaul the underground cave below the house to grow plants. Fred knew what the buyer intended to use the cave for, and he didn't care. He was an engineer and found these types of challenges fun. And Fred definitely had his fun with this one, as it would go down in history to be one of the most unique and elaborate marijuana grow ops out there. Are you also concerned about prying eyes spying on you? Controlling who has access to your web browsing habits is one of the best ways to safeguard your data. This ensures protection against various entities such as hackers, advertisers, your government, and even your internet service provider, who may legally sell your data to the highest bidder. And that's where IPVanish comes in. With IPVanish, you can take back control over your online privacy by rerouting your internet traffic through secure servers, effectively concealing your IP address. This not only safeguards your data, but also works as a backdoor to gain access to restricted content in your country just by selecting one of IPVanish's 90 different IP locations. IPVanish also has a no traffic log policy, meaning their server endpoints and VPN apps are all designed not to save any traffic data that passes through them, and to self-destruct connection diagnostic data after every session. As a result, IPVanish is protected from being forced to disclose data that doesn't exist. IPVanish is currently offering a generous 78% discount when you choose a 2-year plan. Additionally, they also provide a 30-day money-back guarantee in case you're not satisfied with their service for any reason. So scroll down and click the link below to get this special discount, no promo code needed. That's 78% off with a 2-year plan using the link below. Now back to the video. What Fred built next was something straight out of a Hollywood movie.
This cave's really something like you'd see in maybe a James Bond movie. It's got bunk houses, it's got offices, it's got a ventilation system, watering system, heating system, it's got escape hatches.
In fact, that escape hatch looks awfully familiar. Did the Tennessee Pot Cave serve as inspiration for this escape hatch and underground facility in the 2008 film Pineapple Express? To access the cave, there was a secret access tunnel locked down by a hydraulic door hidden in a basement closet. Behind that door was a 40-foot corridor that led downward into the legendary cave. In total, the cave was about 2 miles long, but the area they carved out for their operation was around 250 feet deep. When you walk in on your left, there was a living space equipped with a few bunk beds, offices, a kitchen, and a bathroom and shower. They even had air conditioning, although most of the cave sat at 87 degrees. Then they had 2 growing sections, a starter room and a mature room, both with 500 to 600 plants, both under 1,000-watt lights, grown hydroponically, and growing as much as 3 inches a day in these temperature-controlled ventilated settings. And of course, the James Bond-like escape hatch that led to a boulder door powered by a hydraulic hand pump. This wasn't your average grow op. This was a sophisticated high-tech farming operation designed to grow a potent product and maximize its yield. At its peak, the Grow Cave was producing 100 pounds of marijuana every 8 weeks. Outside, it would take 4.5 months, but in their cave, just 60 days. Each crop had an estimated street value of about $500,000, and each year they would produce about 13 crops. Authorities estimated the operation brought in around $6 to $8 million a year. During the season, it was set up so one person could manage it. But word on the street is that when it came time to harvest the crop, whoever was in charge was bringing in 6 Hispanic workers from Arizona in a van with covered windows, and then driving straight into a modified entrance that was cut into the side of the hill the cave sat against. According to reports, if anyone asked, Strunk and his 2 associates told locals they were mining statuary rock. It truly was the perfect crime, or so it seemed. If it wasn't cutting into the hill that got their attention, then maybe it was the installing of a larger-than-normal transformer for that size of a house that raised red flags. Whatever did it, Strunk and his operation were officially on Tri-County Electric's radar when they later discovered their lines had been spliced into and electricity was being stolen from them. As it turns out, authorities were watching this operation for years. According to the District Attorney General, the investigation started 5 years prior because a home was built above the cave, but it appeared no one ever actually lived there. Authorities also said when they raided the house, there was no furniture in the house, and they discovered the home's chimney was actually a decoy that ran nearly 75 feet down into the cave to ventilate and dry out its air. Which makes you wonder how much of Strunk's story is true. Once apprehended, both Brian Gibson and Greg Compton flipped and said they worked for Strunk. Strunk was picked up at his home in Florida, where authorities also found fake or fraudulently obtained documents for 6 different IDs, $50,000 in cash, and even a grenade. Strunk's bond was originally set to $15 million, then reduced to $1 million. Under the provision, he provide a high school or college yearbook with his photo to prove his identity. In the end, Strunk pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 18 years and served 7. Strunk was also ordered to repay Tri-County Electric a total of $60,001 for electricity he stole to power the cave. So why did he do it?
If Jack Daniels hired me to design a whiskey distillery and build it for them, I wouldn't consider myself being in the whiskey business.
And what happened to the property? Sadly, it burnt down, and anything of value was eventually looted from the cave. But of the estimated $36 to $48 million in revenue from the operation, $30 million was never recovered by the government. So maybe this story does have a happy ending. What do you think? Was Fred Strunk the mastermind of this operation, or just a contractor hired to do a job? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.